Alright, match number 5. Let's see if this deck can win. On the play. This hand could go really right if we drew a land super soon, but it could also go really wrong if we do not. Let's mulligan it. This hand is worse. Do we need to keep it to avoid going to 5? Probably not. No 1 or 2 drops in hand. Alright, we can put this on the bottom. And our opponent is probably playing burn. And we really needed that mana source. Drew another forest, so we're still hurting on blue mana, hurting on anything to do. Please no Keldon Marauders. Izzet Boilerworks, okay. Could be an Izzet Drake deck, but I wouldn't expect to see one of them at 0-4. Alright, let's go ahead and hit for 1. Although I suppose if we draw Elvish Mystic off this Llanowar Empath, we would have wanted to play it this turn. Oh well. Empath might be getting countered anyway. Yep, there's the counter spell. If I get stuck drawing a land next turn, I can at least cash this in, the Mystic in, for a hit of the Horrid Swarm. Assuming the land is untapped. Opponents have 7 cards in hand to our 1. Wretched Griff. Well, I can't cast that, and I can't cast the hit of the Horrid Swarm. And we get Flame Slashed, which makes these emerged creatures even farther away. Fierce Empath. Since we don't have blue mana yet, we probably should go get another It of the Horrid Swarm. And it looks like this is their Peregrine Drake turn. They go ahead and flicker them with Ghostly Flicker. Flame Slash takes out our Fierce Empath. Arcumancer, and that's the combo. Alright, game 2. Alright, so against them we would like the Relics and the Hydroblast. Area Volley is also in consideration since it can get rid of their creatures. I'm not sure I have that many sideboard slots I can sideboard out though. Let's get rid of these slower cards. Maybe a Seagate Oracle. Favor of these, and do I want to bring out anything for aerial volleys? Let's cut the Elvish Visionaries for aerial volleys. That'll probably be better than just a random card. And let's submit. Stormbound Geist could also be good. You might be wondering why I didn't sideboard that in. Alright, no land mulliganing. However, the Stormbound Geist plan is not really what I want to be doing. It doesn't match up well versus their 2/3s. They don't have to block it if they don't want to, and they don't have to attack into it, and they don't have to turn it into a 3/3 for us. So in a fair game plan, it's fine, but it doesn't really help us win the game quickly. We can sacrifice it to emerge in the best of cases, but I don't think it's what we want there. I think the other things we sideboarded in are more important, and I didn't want to sideboard anything else out because it takes too much away from our main plan. I'm going to go get Izzet of the Horrid Swarm, since I can cast it next turn. It's assuming the Fierce Empath lives, and it's the most power. They Lightning Bolt us. Put a stop there so we can get rid of the bolt. So they have as little choice as possible on what to exile. Hits us with a counter spell. And we can pass. Seagate Oracle. We could crack this relic right now. It's nice to be able to keep their graveyard under control, but it would also be nice to be able to actually cast something on our turn. And they can beat us even if they never have a card in their graveyard again. They don't have to combo off to win. They could just play a bunch of flyers and kill us. So I think I need to crack this. Alright. Well, I'm glad I cracked that because I can't do anything with this card alone. So I at least got to make a land drop this turn. Preordain. Alright, Elvish Visionary. Gets us a lot closer to an Izzet of the Horrid Swarm. We can actually cast that next turn. Assuming this lives again. However, since they know that's all that we need in order to be able to cast this, they'll probably try to remove it. Flame Slash. Might as well counter that if I can. Try to protect it so I can cast one of these next turn. Compulsive Research. Discards a land. They're attacking here. Even though they have the inevitability, it doesn't really matter. Get our cast trigger, see if they counter the 4/4 itself. And it looks like they will. And it's Parian Drake time. Maul Drifter. Hit us for 1. And we're 1 mana away from hard casting Izzet of the Horrid Swarm. Let's get rid of the Maul Drifter if we can. Makes their flickers, their ghostly flickers, a little bit worse if they have them. Slows down the clock a little bit. I suppose I could have cast it into the Horrid Swarm, because although this has 0 converted mana cost, the emerge cost is already 1 less than the 8. But they were holding up counterspell magic, so I'd rather them have countered the fight spell than this anyway. Alright, here he goes. Turn 9. 8 lands. Hardcast. Into the Horde Swarm. Will it be enough? Spoiler alert. No, it will not. And the 4/4 gets countered again. Alright, and I think that about ends the game. They go up to 6 cards in hand. Significant board presence against our 4/1/1s that aren't doing anything. I suppose if we just could stack our 4 Wretched Griff on top of our deck, followed by 3 Epic Confrontation, that could be good if their hand was just all lands. They go bottom with that Preordain. Epic Confrontation. Well, I said Wretched Griff and then Epic Confrontation. Epic Confrontation by itself isn't nearly as useful. Alright, one more turn of this and we're dead. Boltos. Archaeomancer Boltos. Just how it's meant to be done. Alright, well, they got us, and that is the game. So I guess we learned something here today. My build of Simic Emerge is not very good, and if you want to try to take it into a league, you probably should heavily edit it first. The main reason it's not great is, although it does generate value, and the synergy between the value 2 and 3 drops and the 6 and 7 cost Emerge sacrifice abilities, is good, and it does generate you a little bit of card advantage. In general, the deck just doesn't interact enough. So aggressive decks, all you can really do is block on the ground with your Seagate Oracles and such, and your It of the Horde Swarm once you get them down. And blocking alone and then hoping you draw one of your 4 Epic Confrontation is not enough interaction against most of the aggro decks in Pauper. So they kill you too quickly, and you can't kill them back quicker because you're more of a mid-range deck. The Emerge deck just is not that fast. Even when you can reduce the cost of the Emerge, you can't reduce it by that much. So you're still casting your things on turn 4 and 5 most of the time. Sometimes on turn 3, but that's not as often the case. In general, if you're going to win slow, you have to have a way to avoid losing early. And this deck doesn't really have that because green-blue doesn't really have that. So maybe you stick some more of the fight spells that aren't quite as good as Epic Confrontation in there, a little bit more interaction, maybe some counter spells, and hope that that works for protecting you early, but I'm not sure. In any case, science was done, we experimented, and we came out learning something, and unfortunately in this case, we did not learn that the deck was good, but rather the opposite. So in any case, send me your decks, because obviously I need them. Thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.